The phrase off the charts is commonly used in sports and finance, for example. It also described my electric bill last month. It's also used quite a bit in weather, often even when it's not warranted. Well, it definitely was appropriate late last week to describe the weather on Mount Washington, New Hampshire, the highest peak in the Northeast at 6,288 feet. And here's an observation that helps make my point and also belongs in the Extreme Weather Hall of Fame. Now, on top is the coded form that meteorologists use. We call this a METAR. The KMWN means Mount Washington. The numbers that follow give the date, the 4th of the month, last Saturday. 0849Z is the universal time. That's 3:49 a.m. Eastern Time. The rest is translated below. I need the temperature of -47 Fahrenheit and the wind of 89 miles per hour. Keep those numbers in mind as we look at the standard National Weather Service wind chill chart. Easy to find on the web. Temperature in Fahrenheit across the top. Notice it doesn't go any lower than -45. Wind speed along the side, and it does not go any higher than 60 miles per hour. So that Mount Washington observation of -47 degrees and 89 mile per hour wind and many other observations last Friday and Saturday literally were off this chart. And what did those conditions look like? Well, here's footage from the Mount Washington Observatory webcam around 2:30 in the afternoon last Friday. This could be a scene out of a horror movie or video from another planet. Certainly the manufacturer of that tower cam should use this footage in its advertising, as Mount Washington lived up to its reputation for having some of the worst weather in the world. And meteorologically, what happened last week on Mount Washington was very interesting and unique. You may be familiar with the terms troposphere and stratosphere, the two lowest layers of the atmosphere. Now, the height of the boundary between them, which is called the tropopause, is typically 20 to perhaps 30,000 feet this time of year in the Northeast. But as air cools, it contracts. So when a bitter Arctic air mass visited the Northeast at the end of last week, the troposphere really compressed, enough that the tropopause dropped below the top of Mount Washington. So these three scientists who staffed the Mount Washington weather station for 15 hours of wind chills below -100 last weekend were living in the stratosphere for a while. The big chill was felt at lower elevations as well. Boston set a record of -10 on Saturday, their first double-digit negative temperature since 1957. But as has been typical of this winter, cold air didn't hang around. By Sunday afternoon, Boston hit 51. Stay tuned. Our extended forecast is next.